Everybody, welcome back to the Gulf Coast Grow Show. I'm your co-host, Zeke Smith. Our illustrious host, Jason Lee, is out this week. We wish him well. We'll see him next time. We are here today with David Reid and Bruce Mann with redM. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Talk about a very important topic, a very relevant topic, and we've got some big sporting events coming up that we'll associate some of these things with. So, guys, again, thank you so much for being with us. I know both of you, at least Bruce, you've been with us before, right?
Yep.
David, been on the show before?
I have not. This
okay,
is my
first timer.
So I don't know what's coming.
Right. We'll try to keep it light, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Be gentle.
what we like to, right, we will. That's right. What we like to do first is get a little background on both of you, and then we'll get into the background on redM and how we got here today. That's okay. David,
Yeah,
we'll start
sure.
with you. Give us some background.
Like criminal record or
There you go. Let's start there. Yeah, start there.
full background.
That's
born
right.
in Scotland.
Okay.
Was in California then here. Been here over 30 years. So slowly but surely becoming a Texan. And redM, my day job, I'm a CTO and CMO for NOV. So that's 3-letter acronyms everywhere.
Yeah.
But large company in Houston and around the world. Been with them for 30 years.
Wow.
And I started this organization called redM about 8 years ago with Bruce and a few other people.
Awesome. Bruce, yourself, give some background.
So I guess we're both from an island. Mine's smaller though, Hawaii.
Yeah.
I've been in Houston 25 years. Vice President Operations and Government Relations for RCR, 3-letter acronyms. So we have a facility in Hempstead and one out in by Austin doing rail transloading. Like David said, been in redM for a little bit.
8 years.
I guess that makes us the goats.
It is, yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but obviously it's an important thing for our region and really the world.
Absolutely.
David's done a great job of growing it. I guess we'll get into that
Sure.
at some point, but
Yeah.
it started small and is not now.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love to hear it. So let's talk about redM. What is it?
Sure.
What is it? Well, I guess let's talk about this too.
Yeah.
What spurred the start of this?
What made it
organization?
happen?
Yeah, what
It's
sparked
a long story. I'll try and do short because I tend to tell the whole story. But basically, the simple idea was I like my wife, which I wanted to spend more time with her. And I had 2 children and a dog in the way. And so I asked her, one of my kids, as they were late teens, to leave the home and move on. I love them, but I wanted them to grow up.
Sure.
So I gave my wife this kind of challenge and said, who are we going to be when the kids were gone? And she went to a conference, came back and said, we're going to fight human trafficking. And I was like, I didn't know anything about that. We actually spent some time in Europe looking at it. We thought it was over there and learned it was here. I got more involved here. And she was involved. We were helping survivors. She was working with an organization called redM that is a recovery home. She was on the board. We had some survivors come and live with us after they'd gone through the program.
Wow.
And so I got to know about it quite in depth through that. And then they asked me to go on the board. I had one board meeting before the next day. I made a post on LinkedIn and just said, I need marketing muscle to help survivors of sex trafficking. And that's how I met Bruce and many others. We got about 50 people came to our first kind of coffee meeting. I had 57,000 views of that post overnight. Wow. And someone called me the next morning and said, this is a deal. Like, you need to get people together. And we did. And for me, I mean, I'm busy. I'm traveling around the world with my job. And I just thought, how do we find a way for professionals to get together, give our skills, and help these organizations become more effective? And that's really how we started. And I would say over the 8 years, we've changed. We started really just educating and helping, giving services, our own services to these organizations. And what we've learned is we've had to move from just that to actually helping everyone understand their kids are at risk, because we see a lot of kids when we do in-company education where we do care package building for survivors. Usually in a group of 30, one person's kid is being groomed. When we describe what a kid looks like in the grooming process, someone will put their hand up and say, this sounds like my child. I'm sure it's not trafficking. 100% so far have been trafficking. So that changed us to understanding it's more than just some people, this thing is happening and it's terrible, but also it is affecting our lives. So we had a lot of education work to do. So we've grown from that 50 people in our room. Today we're about 26 chapters in 3 countries. We have about 5,000 volunteers in Houston who have done work, and it's usually light work. So volunteers don't get like locked in and
Sure.
we just have them do very simple tasks. If you can do one thing a year, that's great. So it causes a lot of volunteers to get stuff done. We did about 180 events last year.
Wow.
We have no employees, we have no buildings, and so we have no costs. So we can run events and do things by, if it's not working, we just stop, or if someone burns out or feels like it's too much, we're like, just stop. So it's got this kind of easy to work with kind of environment, very focused on the volunteer and how do we get people to touch the subject. So that's really kind of how it's done.
Bruce, what made you step up to that post and respond and say, I want to help? What got you into this?
So I went through a leadership forum at the Center for Houston's Future, and I had been in Houston, 10, 11 years at the time, and didn't know anything about human trafficking, let alone where Houston is relative to human trafficking.
Right.
And going through the leadership forum, I realized what it was, how big of an issue it is. And for me personally, I realized it could have been me. Because you start to understand what are some of the at-risk things, or how do people end up here. Mm-hmm. And, people look at me today and think I'm pretty successful and got my stuff together, but I grew up in a dungeon, literally, as a kid, not the greatest environment. And what I learned going through that leadership forum, talking to the city Houston police and some of the folks involved in trafficking was, like a lot of young kids, you run away from home. I'm in a small town, 1,200 people. There's a highway that bisects the town. You can either go left or right down the highway, or across the highway to the other side of the city. And this is how quickly it can happen. If I had gone left or right down that highway, I probably would have ended up being trafficking. Instead, I went to a friend's house. That one choice changed the path of my life.
Wow.
And it's that simple and it's that quick and it's that fast, because I think 70, 80% of kids, once they run away from home, that's where they're going to end up. Mm-hmm. So it became personal for me. Then I started getting involved, working with the governor's office, saw David, got involved with redM kind of in the beginning, because it's personal for me. Like, sure. It could have been me.
Sure.
And it happens that fast, and you don't realize how quickly somebody can end up there. And I was a pastor at Lakewood Church, running a ministry with 300 people. And I'm like, we need to try to do something about this, because there's people that have come to the church that were being trafficked and we didn't even know it, mm-hmm. didn't how to recognize it, didn't know what helped to get them. So this kind of all culminated together at the same time, all of these things. And I'm like, well, I need to do something more than what I'm doing. So that's how I got here. And, 8 years later, here we are. Mm-hmm. So.
Wow. Great story for both of you. So what, you got into this a little bit, David, but helping the other organizations, what makes redM different? Like, what are these organizations missing that redM plugs into? Like,
we are in a gap. I mean, if you look at anyone fighting trafficking, they're trying to message, they're trying to let everyone know about it. And one of the first things we did with our group was took a digital group and looked at effectiveness. And when we looked at posts and people viewing posts, the amount of people working on the fighting trafficking side equaled the amount of people viewing the content, meaning no one's viewing it. So we're a bunch of business people who got our heads around it. We basically went, okay, we're thinking a bit differently than a nonprofit. How do you get to people who don't want to hear the story but need to hear the story? So all of our work has been, it's not deep. We don't teach people deep because it's a very dark subject.
Sure.
Most people don't want to hear it. Some people don't know that things have happened to them in childhood, which are why they don't want to hear it. There's a lot of people who have a resistance We've learned that over time. And so what you're trying to do is create an environment where someone can touch the subject and choose their level of education without pushing the education at them. And so that's kind of how we're different. We operate at very, very low costs. I mean, and we generate funds, but that is not our goal. Our goal is awareness, and generating funds is a byproduct. So we support organizations because we don't need the money. We're constantly passing it on to organizations that do need the money. And so I think the two that we support in Houston both said that we were their biggest donor last year and that they would not have made it without us. And wow. So that's what we were aiming at. We were looking for organizations who, the best organizations in this space, are really bad at asking for money. And they go away because they care about the care and they just don't have time to think about money. And so for the business world, a perfect space for us to jump in and say, can we brand you, market you, run your events? And they're like, yes, please, because we just want to care for people. There's other ones who are perfect branders and they're out there and everyone knows them, but then the amount of dollars that go to care is less. So we really like this model, and that's been a model we're replicating in other cities, and it really helps these organizations who have good hearts and are focused on care. And we're non-political, non-religious. A lot of these organizations are faith-based, and so we put people on their boards to make sure that the money is just going to care. So if they're trying to develop their church and help, help people who've been trafficked, that's a thing. We're like, yeah, that's good that you do that, but we can't support that because we have funds from companies who can't support faith groups. Not because they're bad companies, just because they have lots of different faiths and beliefs inside their company, so they can't select one and say you're my favorite. So it's a really, they like that we do that work, and they feel safer giving us the money. So yeah, that's kind of our model.
There's got to be some value in anonymity for some of these homes or rescues. They don't necessarily want so it's nice to have a more public, forward-facing organization to support them if they can't advertise. Obviously, they want people to know they're there to protect them, get them out of this cycle or whatever that may be. But I guess I get the conflict there of saying we don't really want to advertise. We don't want people to know that these folks are here. We're trying to get them. But I don't know. I
think early we used to think that it is true. It is true that there is a level of traffickers target, facilities.
Sure.
They want to build connection and relationship. There is a bit of protection there, but they know how to do that. I mean, all of them have great hearts, and we really want to try and talk to people about it and get money. But if you imagine, here's the real conflict. I sat with one of the guys running this facility, and I said, even talking to me now, all you can think about is I should be back there, because it's like someone just dropped a baby off at your door. And I'm talking to you, and all you can think is there's a baby at the door. Mm-hmm. That's the heart of these people. It's not so much that the anonymity. They're keen for people to know what they do, because funding keeps them alive. Grants keep them alive, which is I wish that wasn't the case. I wish society would jump around it. But today grants are a big part of their survival because they live right on the edge. These organizations, and so we're trying to change that. The other thing we're thinking early on, I thought, let's help these organizations. That's not really at our core anymore. We do help these organizations, but our core is we need society to know. Because when you learn about what's going on, you're like, well, why isn't anyone doing anything? And the only answer to that is because we don't know. And the reason we don't know is because it's a hard subject. So you have this tension. Most people think it's like the movie Taken. Mm-hmm. Well, that's, maybe 1% of cases. The strategy of the traffickers has moved away from grabbing people and tying them up and containing them, and they've gone to psychologically doing it. So most people trafficked today would never say I'm trafficked. They wouldn't understand that. They just think I have a friend or a boyfriend who is, there's some weird things happen, but they love me and I belong here. Mm-hmm. So they're using cult techniques to control. And so people look free. People look free when they're trafficked, and it's really not what you think. So we've seen all sorts, different ages all over the place, but people generally living life around you could be being trafficked right now. And that's something you didn't think of. You just thought, well, they're going to be locked up and there's all these stories that you see, and it's not how it really is.
Yeah. And it's, a lot of times you're dealing with vulnerable people, right?
Sure.
And they feel unloved at home, unwanted, or, my choice is I can be treated like this at home, or here's this person who's appearing to take care of me and help me and look out for me. And they don't realize what's actually taking place. And, sometimes it's just the lesser of two evils, right? So, I think it's kind of what Don Rumsfeld said a few years ago. There's things you know, things you don't know, and things you know you don't know. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things I like about redM is they're helping people know. Mm-hmm. Because once you understand this, and not the deep, dark levels, but just even the surface level, mm-hmm. you can't not get involved because it's just so horrific. One of the things, and I was in the military, so I can kind of maybe say this, I've seen people have friends that have experienced PTSD from the military.
Sure.
A lot of times that's from an event or a month. You've got people that have been trafficked for years, and the amount of PTSD that they have and the help that they need to get away from it and get healed. And then all of the stuff that comes with that, because, they were arrested for soliciting at some point, all these other things that prevent them from coming back into the rest of the world.
Yeah, and it's purposeful design. So, they target kids because they can build more barriers with a kid to over time be more valuable to them. So the girls' ages are around 12 to 14ish, where they're going to start engagement. Boys 8, because they have gaming systems. Gaming systems are an easy access for them. So they start that relationship. They'll spend a long time, months, sometimes years. Usually when we go back, we learn it was many more years than you thought. Mm-hmm. And they'll invest because the amount of money they can make off of that child for multiple years. So there are people who were dealing in guns and drugs who are now looking at this new product that can keep producing for a decade. And they'll go that long. And that is that, and they're dehumanizing the person. So in the process, it's like, why don't they just run away? Well, this is the complex PTSD issue, is that they're following the techniques of cults, and it's things you would think you wouldn't see. So my kid is up all night on their phone with their friend. That's not a friend, and they're purposely giving them no sleep. They've changed their eating habits when they've got to know this friend. Well, they're purposely changing what they eat because they're trying to target them to weaken, so that they'll be just like in a cult, but they're still in your home. They're still, they're accessing your kids. They're starting this separation process. And people are like, well, I think I just have a troubled kid. And suddenly one day they became this way. A lot of those behaviors, when we explain them to people, you go, I know you think this is just a teen, or they think, oh, this is just some psychological issue they're dealing with. If you can get to, I think there is a risk here, and then we usually engage with a private investigator, and that's when we kind of get to extract and go, let me show you how this is a trafficker. And then we have to show the kid. You have to walk them back through, but they understand me. They have the same, there was a case, they were saying orange cat, which was really an odd thing to say for a ginger cat, but they also have an orange cat. And you go back through their messages and go, this is when you told them you had that. And this is why they say, so they use all of these things in conversation. You forget you had a conversation, or you said you were somewhere, or you liked something. And they use that to make them think, I'm bonding with someone. They understand me. And my parents think I'm immature. They think I'm mature. So every natural thing that a parent is doing to help grow a child, they're working against that. Right. Mm-hmm. And so even you would imagine, so in the middle of grooming, we have to tell the parent, okay, they've been waiting for this day that you find out, and they've prepped your child for it. Do not be angry at the trafficker. And parents are like, what are you talking about? Of course I'm angry, and of course I'm going to go and tell them. Yeah. And so the actual work of making sure that the destruction doesn't continue and the distancing doesn't keep happening is quite a job with parents. And they're just regular parents. When we talk to them, it's so shocking. I mean, we had a 19-year-old was at A&M. Probably shouldn't give too much details, but the connection, the dad was calling us and said, I'm sure this isn't trafficking, but someone said I should call you. And basically we got it down to, yes, there are 3 people that she's been talking to through her gaming system who she thinks one is a boyfriend and 2 are friends, all male. They're the same person. And one is good cop, one's bad cop, and I think it was 2 good cops and a bad cop. And because the dad was seeing the messages going, what am I looking at? It's just, there's just always, it's complex, and it's designed for us to not see it.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's why I think the education piece is so important. Because I will tell you, my son never has his phone at night. When it's bedtime, I take his phone.
Yeah.
Because that is not going to be an entry point for my child.
Yeah.
Just because kids are vulnerable. I mean, it's a hard world out there.
Yeah.
They're getting pulled in so many different directions, and we have to be. It's not just enough to be present. We have to be engaged.
Yeah. And educated.
And educated, yeah.
Because I think that we have YouTube. Most people are like, I'm not really digital. I'm like, you can learn about all of these apps. You can learn about the risk for your kids. And it's an active job at this point. And we've gotten used to being passive and letting, when my kids were little, a VCR that we would repeat over and over again, Barney, whatever it was. It was a relief because it's intense to be helping children grow. But what's happened is people have got used to it and said, this is so good now. They're so great on digital. And so we've got used to it as a society. We have to actually backtrack and go, we wouldn't put our child, well, my older brother did this with my 12, when my child was 12, put him in a car sitting on his lap and said, drive. And, 13, 14, he kept jumping in cars and driving. Like, it's a problem. But he shouldn't be. And that's exactly what the internet is we're giving kids the keys to the world, actually giving every predator in the world access to your child.
And with the advent of AI and bots and things, the strength of one person's reach is exponentially increased.
If you think what they're doing is they're learning your child. AI can learn much faster.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like the best predator.
Okay, so I came here excited to talk to both of you. I'm a father of 3 young kids, and I got a little knot in my stomach.
I'm sorry about that.
No.
It's important.
No. And so I consider, Jason and I both, we've talked about this, and I mentioned off air, we talked to Tim before, and first and foremost, you used to learn to be a Texan. I'm a very proud Houstonian. I was born in Pasadena, grew up in Baytown. I'm very proud of Houston. So when I hear this topic associated with my town, it's almost, I'm offended because this is a great place to raise kids in a family and work and make a living. And you 2 guys are very successful examples of that. But this is a stain on our reputation that we have to anyway. And I consider myself aware of this, but what you just said about the way that the layers of it, and without getting too dark about it, it's like that to me is so important. Just to
couple of things. One, because there's a lot of talk of Houston is number one. I don't know if you ever hear that stuff. In studying the subject over years, it's not that Houston's number one. It's not that we're beside the border. It's not all the things we thought. Because when you study it, it's where people are. We're a big city that's growing. Sure. We doubled in size. Everyone came from somewhere else. So you can feel better about that. There's a lot of factors going on.
Sure.
Well,
but we are
Cleveland, Texas, being a high trafficking area.
Our Midland crowd. They came on fast because they knew they're like anywhere there's isolated males is usually a target. So sports events, OTC, anywhere isolated males with money is a target, and so. So World Cup is coming.
I want to get to that. So that's
I have a specific message because I was in a luncheon this week with the DA's office and heard some things I hadn't even thought of. So I'm pretty keen to share. But World Cup, it's funny. I'm on the Houston and the Dallas teams working on it. I helped get the World Cup here. And one of the things that was blocking World Cup coming here was our reputation with trafficking, which may have surprised most people, as we do have a reputation for being
a hub of that.
It's not a hub. We're doing work against it, but inside the trafficking world, they see Houston as a friendly place.
Huh.
And I don't think that's for lack of us trying to do stuff.
Sure.
But there is a lack of awareness.
Well, and I think we do a better job than most metro areas of reporting it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the more you report it, the more prevalent it is. Then you get this reputation. But I think because of the work that we do,
that's right. people are aware of it.
Yeah.
So because we've had issues with large corporations not wanting to be here using that argument. And so that was happening, and we had to explain this stuff to FIFA so that they would understand we're actually one of the better cities. A lot of awareness, a lot of engagement, lots of organizations doing things.
Right.
Great church foundation, which means lots of people are interested in engaging. So there is a lot of positive. Now, understanding how traffickers work, this is a very complex. The new numbers are around almost a $500 billion business at this point.
Okay, let's pause there. What is this funding? What is this trafficking business funding globally? What
are they doing?
What are they doing with the? That's one thing. What's the motivation to make the money to do it?
They're large cartels and mobs. All the bigs in the gang world of any shape or size have moved to trafficking.
Okay.
I don't want to give you that. I've got way too much information on this,
but
a lot of things in world gang and mob and whatever you want to call it, cartels, they moved over here just because of the economics. They just saw the ability to make a lot of money. Once I think border shutdown. There's no data other than people's experiences. Border shutdown caused it to swing to U.S. kids. That's an observation of, we just saw no border cases for a while when first Trump administration. But we did see the mix of that. And then 2020, traffickers learned we can really groom these kids easily. And so they started moving in. They have large areas, obvious, poverty, runaways, but foster kids aging out is a big deal for them because suddenly you're losing a kid.
Sure.
So they just learn different ways of doing this, and it's a business, so they're honing their techniques. It's a lot here is surprising for people. I mean, I think it was 2016 when the governor's office came out with numbers. The shocker was, I think, we're 79,000 children sex trafficked in Texas per year. That's bigger than the Texans Stadium, just to give you a visual.
Right.
That's a 72,000, I think. They've just been over that. But to get that feeling of that many children a year being trafficked, it's around us. Now, we're a big city, so, I mean, you add how many millions there are, and Texas is growing. But it's around us, and it's touching people all the time more than you know.
Sure.
There is a chance that whoever you are, there's someone you know, if not in your family, near to your family, who is going to be trafficked. And you're going to need to identify that. You're going to have to see it. You're going to have to learn about it. And we all don't want to, because we don't want to think that's going to come my way. But the worst is, we get this all the time with it. redM events they're fun. We do a ton of fun events. We do culture nights. Like, we have a Spanish night that is growing downtown during OTC. We have the Mexican night that has turned into a wrestling match, like they do the Lucha Libre. I'm not kidding you. It is so much fun. Bring your kids. I wouldn't
put it past the Scotsman and the Hawaiian. I mean, you guys,
I know.
we're throwing some parties, I bet.
But it is. But these are fun things because people don't go to trafficking events.
Right.
Like, what should we do tonight? You want to go see a movie? No, let's go to a trafficking event. Nobody wants to do that.
Sure.
And in fact, people who were in the space were depressing and losing friends because you want to talk about it because you can't help yourself.
Right.
But people don't want to hear that. That's really hard. So going to, as you got excited, same thing. We're going to do this Mexican night. What we're doing as well, which is fun, is it's about 50% from that culture, 50% other people. So the cultures are loving it. Our Indian group was like, we do 4,000 person events. And they came to Mexican night and they went, oh, but we don't do this. We do just Indians.
Right.
We don't do, we're sharing our culture with the city. That's amazing.
Houston, right? Yeah, exactly.
It's Houston. And so we do lots of those. We have Venezuelan night, Scottish night, which is the best one, of course. But we do all these things.
It's the best whiskey, right?
It was funny. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that. But so there's a fun event, and we talk a little bit about trafficking, and it starts the journey. It's why redM, the name. Why redM? What we learned is, you put anything about trafficking in your name, you just lost a lot of people who you're trying to reach. People think it's like, what is that brand? We on Mondays, we all post our cups, Red Monday, #Red Monday. Been doing it for 6 years now. Everyone sees it. And what we learned is, because they see a cup and it's wherever you are. So if I'm traveling or whatever I'm doing, these people see it and they look for a minute, and that tells the algorithm interested. You're going to get more and more and more content. So people, why am I seeing redM everywhere?
Wow.
Well, it's because you stop and look. And the way we're doing it, there's no negative imagery. It's just fun things that people are doing.
Sure.
So you're attracting people into something. The culture of people is incredible in redM. That's what people love the most. It's people who are good people, all professionals doing work together. You get to see people's skills and be engaged. It's so much fun. It's ridiculous that it's about trafficking.
Right.
But it is. And so what happens is we give people enough and we let them do their homework. So I run a podcast and it's heavy stuff.
I was going to say it's a heavy topic, so you have to have
right. So there's a way to learn,
right?
And then so we tell people there's the podcast. If you really want to go deep, we have the podcast, but we're not going to do that in our social gatherings. We're going to tell you a little bit. We kind of walk people through. Here's the world. Here's America. Here's Texas. Here's our city. Here's at the end of your street, and here's kids, and then we're out. Then usually that's all we do. We keep it as light as that. It's a slow, fast kind of journey. We're gonna let you hear something. You choose. And usually someone, remember that Rockets, one of their executives said, come in. We've been trying to talk to them and they said, oh, come in. And we went to a game together and we were all talking. And she said, yesterday or 2 days ago, I started going down the rabbit hole. Yesterday, I really went down. And she goes, we're so in right now. Like, this is horrifying. We've got to do something. And so they've been great partners for us. And we have lots of great partners across the city. And we just we have CEOs make videos, which is one of the most effective things we do. I had one C-suite group and they were like, what are we going to do? And they came up with some ideas. We had them make a video for their employees, short 3-minute pieces. And then we said, what else can you do? Well, I have friends who are CEOs. And so we start this CEO video. Then this other CEO sees me at a restaurant and goes, hey, I need to talk to you about redM. Okay, cool. So we go to coffee and he goes, why am I not in the video? Because the IADC plays it at every single event they do around the world. And so he's sitting there going, well, those are CEOs, but I'm not in that video. So then we made another one with him and, other large drilling contractors in that space. And now we've got a lobby group working on one, the Society of Petroleum Engineers. So we just give them the format, just film it.
Sure.
And they play it. And so it's a really brief education piece. So you're just creatively going, what do you want to do? So we find there's a cornhole tournament that D now does, and they give us a check every year we speak. And every time what you're doing is getting people to do fun things and start learning about a hard subject.
Yeah, and it's important not to go down to the deep dark, right? Because it's overwhelming when you get there. Mm-hmm. Like David said, it's a $500 billion industry, right? Mm-hmm. And kind of to your question, why? Well, and David hit on it earlier. You sell a drug, the drug's gone. You sell the person's still there. Yeah.
Right.
And over and over and over for 10 years, 12 years. So, but, when you keep it at a higher level without getting down here, people want to be engaged.
Yeah. I mean, you care about your kids.
It doesn't feel overwhelming, right? Yeah. And there's things everyone can do.
Yeah.
Everyone.
That's why Monday morning at CUP.
Yeah.
Should you do that?
No, exactly, right? And
you learn as much as you want to or can tolerate or can digest.
That's right.
If you want to get deep, you can.
What's a shocker? I'm talking to men and learning, most men have had some kind of sexual thing happen to them inappropriately in their life. Mm-hmm. I had no clue. You know why? We don't talk.
Right.
We don't talk about that stuff. And even our brains don't remember it. So that's been new to me. Someone said it. We were doing a dinner in New Orleans. Someone said it from a large oil company. And I was like, really? I'm not sure that's true. But then start talking to people.
A lot more trauma.
Yeah, a lot more than we know. Yeah.
Well, you don't know what's abnormal until you know that it's abnormal.
That's right. That's amazingly true.
Because, when I was growing up in the dungeon, I don't know what's not normal and what is normal, right? And so, and the hardest part is no one ever asked.
Yeah.
And and this is why engagement from parents is so important, and neighbors and whatever.
Community.
Because just one person to ask the question, because how are you doing? Nobody ever asked me, how are you doing? Right. Or, in our churches, right. Or in school, when you see somebody start to be different, because teachers see these kids every day. Pastors see these kids, youth ministries. You see these kids every week, every day. you see something different, ask the question.
We use a terminology, and Mandy, our producer, knows this. We've talked about mental health in this industry a lot, and you just kind of brought up the topic. Something we use terminology wise is anything if you see significant and sudden change in behavior. So those two terms, keep that in your head.
That's kids.
Significant and sudden change. Like what happened there?
Something happened. So something that I haven't said that I want to say that I heard from the DA's office. So when you think about how these businesses work, they ramp up for big events in Houston. They ship in people. So they have a supply challenge. The World Cup is the world's biggest sports event right now because they've added teams. They've gone to 3 countries. People are jumping around. People who are coming from countries where prostitution is legal. It is, if you buy sex in Texas, it is a felony now. Could be a 10-year fine. People could be, a 10-year jail sentence. People don't know that. People think, it's all okay. But what they're doing is they're going to be looking at supply. They've got a supply problem coming their way because a lot of men are coming here with money who are going to want to buy sex. The current thought on what their strategy is they're going to use reaching your kids during the summer who you're going to be watching. They're going to be away out of school. This is June and July. And they're going to want to take your kids and prostitute them for 2 months and then hand them back. That's their plan. So for all parents in Houston, we need a hypervigilance on your kids over the summer. That's probably the most important thing we can do is know that this is something that they are thinking of right now, maybe talking to your kids already. If your kids have friends that they've never met, if they have contacts online, if you have a son playing a game or a daughter, who are they talking to? Right. Who's on that list that they're chatting to of strangers out there? How aware are they? So that's kind of the big alert is biggest. People don't understand when people think this is the city talking. It's like we did the Super Bowl. We're good. And we're actually helping Dallas right now because we in all forms, but trafficking's in that list. This is multiple Super Bowls. What happens in the World Cup is, if I think of the European games last summer in Scotland, we were in Germany. 100,000 Scots went there to not go to the game. I remember. We're developing the city to allow for this. I don't know if we even this infrastructure is going to be hard. Now the police are ramping up. I'm not saying things are not. Sure. They know this is coming. They're on it. But it doesn't change the risk. And it doesn't change the amount of people coming to the city and how at capacity we're going to be of people from other countries. Who are going to be looking for. They are isolated males with money. They are the hot target for traffickers. So there's a big business going to happen in this city. And we don't catch it normally. So we've got work to do as parents to be watching the kids through the summer. That's kind of my message.
Yeah. And not just, who are you talking to? Oh, it's my friend, this person, that.
No, that's right.
I take my son's phone and I look at his messages. Sure.
Right.
And I caught somebody trying to groom him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, we're deleting that.
Yeah.
And it looks real.
No,
exactly.
This
father in the summer last year with the 19-year-old daughter, he had done a bit of homework. So he checked out the addresses of the 3 boys who were supposed to be in New York. They were not. Mm-hmm. And that the phone number was coming out of Mexico.
Wow.
So it was very believable.
I have a 10-year-old son. I'm looking at the camera because he likes to do the Roblox and the
Roblox is one of the worst.
Yeah, the private server or not or whatever. So just watching you, Benny. We're gonna
also
talk soon.
We had a couple in the Woodlands. Their daughter, all the behaviors of someone being groomed, like you say, changes that are unexpected. We had our private investigator come in. They're like, "There's no way. She's homeschooled. She's not on the internet, and she doesn't have social media. No gaming. None of that." So anyway, our private investigator sits with her for a while, comes out of the room and says, yeah, she's being groomed. How? Mom's Bible app has a chat feature.
It's so everywhere.
They need to be the ones who are being educated. In fact, the secret to kids nowadays is ask them to tell you. Don't go tell them. Like just say, hey, what do you know about this stuff? Mm-hmm. They'll go tell you. They'll go research it. But that's the best way for them to learn, honestly. Because they'll reject it. They're already, if they are being groomed, they're going to reject everything you're saying anyway. So sure. It's have them do some homework and start to understand it, because it's really hard to undo. Even when people come through and they're getting care, that wasn't my boyfriend or that wasn't my best friend. That's because they do a brilliant job of building connection and love and intimacy with someone. And it's just unthinkable, because this is the best experience of their life.
Sure.
And now you're coming in saying something's wrong with it. So just know the dynamic.
And if something sounds too good to be true, it always is.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I got a call a couple of years ago. My friend's daughter's going to Baylor, lives in an apartment complex off campus. And this person at the apartment complex always befriending her, always trying to get her to go do stuff. One day she comes up to her and says, "Hey, we're going to take a private jet and go see Snoop Dogg." I'm like, "Yeah, no." Because he calls me and says, "Should I let her go?" I'm like, "No,
No.
She's being groomed and you're about to have your daughter be trafficked."
Oh,
Yeah.
Because it's literally,
Sure.
and it's all of this stuff. The grooming is always too good to be true because nobody's ever that much like you.
Yeah.
I mean, please.
Yeah. My daughter is 5, and I did the cheeky thing and say the only, she talks about having a boyfriend, joking. I said, the only boyfriend you need is daddy. And I told her that as a joke, but now I'm like, this is serious.
Well, and
you're going to only say that for the next 20 years.
The relationship father to daughter is really important because that's where they're getting. If someone has been missing, too busy, traffickers love that.
Yeah.
So bonds with sons and daughters are really important. But also older boyfriend is the normal con.
Sure.
So I was at an event, a training in a church, and I noticed they weren't really giving them the information about their kids. And so I said, there was an 11-year-old there that it was a firefighter and a cop who brought their daughter, 11-year-old. And I said, "Can I talk to her?" And they said, yes. I went down to her level and said, "Do you have friends who have older boyfriends?" And she smiled and went, "Yeah." Parents blew their minds.
Yeah.
And it's good to ask that question that
Sure.
way, not do you,
Right.
because you're just telling on your friends.
Right.
But that's how trafficking, that's what I said to her. I said, that's how trafficking happens. Because she wasn't hearing it in the class. And I'm like, you need to know that that's how they do it. Because that's the coolest thing you could imagine would be an older boyfriend.
Sure. As we hit the home stretch, what does redM need? What do you need with our? I don't think we have the audience that you do, but our 12 or 13 listeners that are watching today.
I need all 13 of you to do something.
2 of them are my parents.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
so,
they can do something.
you
Grandparents are one of
that's great.
you know why? You know why grandparents are cool?
No. Well,
your kids are going to listen to your parents.
they certainly do.
They're not
a lot better with them than they do with me.
So same, even with my kids when they're growing up, we brought in kind of someone between us and the kids age-wise as a relationship, because you got to think about that. Who do they listen to? How do they? They'll tell you your parents' stuff. They'll never tell because we didn't tell our parents, right? We know that we didn't.
Right.
And so knowing that is good. But every person who listens, there's a tendency to have a lot of emotions, anger, fear. None of those are helpful. None of those emotions are helpful. What we need is, I am shocked. Just accept, yeah, this is shocking. It's hard to believe. So you may have to do some homework to prove it out to yourself, but do something. And it's not, you don't need to do everything now. Some people, you're wired. Like we see 100 people, we make them aware. 10 of those will be volunteers. If you want to do some volunteer work, we got hundreds of tasks. If you want to invent something, if you're in a company, we'll come and do a session for you for 30 people, get together over lunch. We make it easy to do things. And then one person will be like, they're Bruce or me. Like, I really want to dive into this. Like, this is something I think, like I have a moment. We have a lot of leaders in different cities who we'll usually gather people and someone will go, I think like this is my moment. Like whatever lifestyle, whatever's going on with me, I'm in, like I want to lead. Our San Antonio leader was just like, I want. They jump forward. Can I lead? Like, oh yeah, please, please lead. So there are those people too. Like I really want to jump in and do something. So wherever you fit from, I'm aware now. I'm going to start researching a bit more. I'm aware I want to volunteer. I'm aware I want to go deep. Just let us know, and we can help make that happen.
How do we do that? How do we get a hold of you fine gentlemen or the organization?
Easy for me on LinkedIn. David Reid with NOV, and I think I'll probably say redM on there too. I'm wearing this T-shirt, so you can know it's me in case you're like, is that him? But the organization is joinredm.com, and you can sign up to volunteer. You can donate, and some people just have money. and I'm here to deburden them of that. And so if they want to just give money, we will use that well.
Time, talent, treasure. We will take
exactly.
one or all three, right?
Well, we started with a younger generation. I know you think Bruce and I, we're younger generations, but mostly it was younger people in the room.
Yeah.
And it's because I learned through the church we were in that they want to give time and talent, but they don't give money, which is okay. I'm cool with it. So that's how we started, was all just people giving a little bit of time. So we'll find a way to get in. It doesn't have to be your life. The main redM message is, this is not people who everyone meets them and go, oh, you met Bruce, he's one of those trafficking, fighting people. We don't make those people. We make people who know how to have this not be a dominant part of their conversation, but they know about it. So that's a good fit for us. And if you want to go deep, we can get you deep.
You're making more educated, engaged community members, right?
Correct. We want the whole community.
Right.
There is no one here that we don't want to reach, and we're all about it.
No, and I think that there's two things, right? Is come look and find out, right? And I'm going to look at the camera. Mm-hmm. Spend time with your kids. Mm-hmm. Because that's how we stop this, right? You take away the supply. Mm-hmm. It's not just being present, it's being engaged with your kids, finding out who they're spending time with, talking to them, looking at their phone, seeing who they're talking to, looking at the text messages, finding the inappropriate things, and sitting down and having a conversation with them so they understand what it is that they're contributing to potentially. Because when I told my son, look, hey, you're getting these pictures, do you know what that is? And do you know what happened to that person that was getting the picture taken of them? If it's even real and not AI, but because their minds can comprehend a lot more than we think they can. And when you tell them, hey, these girls are this or these boys are this, they're horrified by it. They don't want to be part of that. So spend time with your kids, because my dad never came to an event when I was growing up. And because of that, I could have been.
Right.
And I think Bruce Arians, the coach, well, he was an NFL coach. I don't know if he is still now. But he told his people that work for him, if you don't spend time with your kids, I'll fire you. Mm-hmm. And that's the accountability we need to have as parents, and the culture that we need to create where we're spending time with our kids. We need to educate ourselves. Mm-hmm. If you're passionate about it, get involved. redM's here. It's a great thing. It's grown. It's 3 countries and a whole bunch of places. Mm-hmm. But do something. And if that something's just talking to your kid, then we already won.
Yeah. Yep. Great. Well said. Yep. Well said. You mentioned the DA's office. So I want to give a shout out to my friend, our DA, Sean Tier. I know he's got a big job ahead of him with, we're trying to get him on here Sunday. He's so busy, he didn't respond to my text anymore. So happy birthday, but
they're doing good work.
We're fans of Sean. He's a good friend. Guys, thank you so much. I think we could probably sit here for hours and do this talk. Maybe we'll have to come back again, perhaps after the World Cup, and see how we did, right? And see how the city responded, and hopefully we've gained some more excited volunteers and funds. So thank you both for your testimony, really, right? And the work that you do. It's appreciated.
Thank you.
It's needed to have a great region of economic growth, to have people like you in it, right? Yeah. It's needed. So
it's good people. We've got a lot of good people. We can do stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again. And thank you all for watching, listening. As always, if you think there's someone needs to hear this message, we ask you to push it forward. Share the post when it comes out. Obviously, we'll tag David and Bruce and their organizations on the post, but send it to somebody who needs to hear it, right, or wants to hear it, whether they think they want to or not. Mm-hmm. And certainly share it with your kids. I know I try to have my kids watch the podcast, as exciting as this is, but we will this time. Again, thank you all this time for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks.